Welcome to the Deep Dive. We explore fascinating topics, pulling out those bits of knowledge that, honestly, just make conversations better. Today, we're getting into something truly captivating: the science behind solving crimes. Okay, picture this. Voltaire's novel, The Book of Destiny. There's this character, Sadiq. The queen's dog goes missing. Her men are searching everywhere. Sadiq, who's never seen the dog, says, "Oh, the female dog. Lifts on her left leg, long ears. Oh, and congratulations, she got married."
Married the dog.
Yeah. And then a few days later, the king's horse vanishes. Same thing. Sadiq describes it perfectly. About 1.5 meters high, tails a meter long, silver horseshoe.
Okay, so how did he know? He must have seen them.
Nope. That's the amazing part. The soldiers thought so too, threw him in jail. But then the animals turned up. Sadiq explained he saw marks from the dog's dangling breasts, traces showing the long ears brush the ground, and only one footprint looked different, showing the limp.
And the horse.
Tree dust a meter away showed the tail length. Leaves torn off a branch 1.5 meters up showed its height, and the horseshoe marks. They revealed the silver.
Wow. That
Right.
sounds like magic almost.
Exactly. It sounds like fiction, but it's precisely what real forensic investigators do. They piece together the whole story from tiny, subtle clues. So our mission today is to dive into the tools they use, understand the science, and, maybe jokingly figure out how to commit the perfect crime.
Huh. Well, maybe not the last part. But Sadiq's story, it really taps into that fundamental human need for answers, for justice, when rules get broken. Crime, unfortunately, is as old as we are.
Right. It's part of human nature, isn't it? Anger, greed.
Exactly. And society needed ways to hold people accountable, even without witnesses.
So before science, how did they even try to figure out who did it? What were the methods then?
Well, honestly, a lot of it was brutal guesswork or primitive tricks. They used torture, like setting someone on fire. If they burned, guilty. If they survived,
Yeah.
innocent, maybe divine intervention.
That's horrifying.
It was. Or they'd throw someone in the sea. Drowning meant guilt. Floating meant innocence. Or, duels like in Game of Thrones. The idea was God lets the truthful person win.
So completely unreliable and incredibly unjust.
Absolutely. Imagine the innocent people who suffered. It took a long time to move towards something more logical, I guess, though still flawed, like the dry rice test in ancient India.
Dry rice, how does that work?
They'd give a suspect dry rice. If you're guilty, you're probably nervous, right? Dry mouth. So the rice would stick. If you were calm, it wouldn't.
A bit more logical, maybe, but still.
Still prone to error, definitely.
Yeah.
Many innocents were still condemned. But this struggle, this need for real answers, paved the way for forensic science. One of the earliest scientific attempts recorded was actually 14th century China.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
A farmer was killed with a machete. The investigators gathered all the machetes in the village, laid them out in the sun, and waited. Flies landed on only one of them, drawn to the tiny, invisible traces of blood.
That's brilliant. So forensic science isn't just about autopsies then, like we see on TV.
Not at all. That's forensic pathology, which is part of it. But forensic science is much, much broader. It's really this amazing mix of different scientific fields working together.
Like what other fields are involved?
Oh, loads. You've got ballistics, studying bullets and firearms, how a gun leaves a unique mark on a bullet. Forensic psychiatry, trying to understand the mental state of an accused person.
Okay.
Forensic dentistry, crucial for identifying bodies, especially after things like plane crashes, because teeth last a long time. Forensic toxicology, that's about identifying poisons or drugs, finding the cause of death, or if someone was driving under the influence.
Wow. So it covers pretty much everything.
Pretty much. Every aspect of a crime scene, every piece of potential evidence, has a science that can analyze it, reveal its story, and explain it.
Okay, but let's talk about crime scenes. TV shows make it look so simple, right? The genius detective spots one clue, sends it off, gets results back instantly.
Yeah, that's definitely not how it works. It's far more methodical. And it's built on a key idea from a French scientist, Edmond Locard, back in 1910. He called it the principle of exchange.
Principle of exchange.
Yeah, or transmission of evidence. The basic idea is simple but powerful. Anyone who enters a crime scene leaves something behind and takes something away with them. Always.
So like microscopic fibers, hair, skin cells.
Exactly. Especially in crimes with physical contact murder, assault, there's always an exchange, which makes the crime scene itself the most critical piece of the puzzle.
But it also makes it incredibly fragile, right? Easy to contaminate.
Absolutely critical. Protecting the crime scene is priority number one. Nothing gets touched. Nothing gets moved initially. First responders tape it off immediately.
And the examiner.
They come in wearing full protective gear suits, gloves, masks. And before they collect anything, they document everything. Descriptions, photos, sketches, noting the exact location of every potential piece of evidence.
Why so meticulous?
For legal reasons later on. You have to prove in court that the evidence wasn't tampered with, that the chain of custody is intact. Only after all that documentation do they start collecting things.
Right, okay. So getting into the interesting stuff, what kind of evidence are they actually looking for? What are these silent witnesses?
Well, lots of things tell a story. Take blood stains. Experts analyze them using biology, physics, chemistry.
What can blood tell you? Apart from, whose it is.
A lot. The pattern matters. A
Mm.
pool of blood might suggest a stabbing or heavy blow.
Mm.
Smaller, dispersed drops often point to a gunshot.
Uh-huh.
Even the shape of a single drop. If it falls straight down, 90 degrees, it's perfectly round. If it hits at an angle, it elongates. And that angle tells you about the victim's position or the direction of the injury.
That's amazing detail.
And they check if there's more than one blood type. Did the attacker get injured too?
Okay, what else? What about hair?
Hair's another big one. We shed about 100 hairs a day, apparently, so finding hair is common.
And it can tell you.
Gender, sometimes.
Yeah.
Human or animal, and which animal? Was it pulled out in a fight or did it just fall out, died, recently cut? They compare samples under a special microscope.
A comparison microscope.
Right, but the real game changer is if the hair still has its follicle attached.
Why?
DNA. That's the gold standard for identification. If you have the follicle, you can often get a DNA profile.
Got it. And fingerprints. The classic clue. Everyone assumes they're absolutely foolproof, are they?
They're incredibly powerful, yes. No two are alike, not even on the same person, and they don't change throughout life. We leave them because of oils on our skin. Powder sticks to the oil, reveals the pattern loops, whorls, arches.
So analysts just match the patterns.
They compare specific points, yeah. But, and this is important, they're not 100% infallible. Studies show there's a small error rate.
Small, though, like tiny.
Tiny, yes, maybe 0.1%. But it's partly due to something called contextual bias. Knowing other details about the case can sometimes subtly influence how an analyst sees the print.
Still, 99.9% sounds pretty reliable.
It is incredibly reliable. But think about it. If you're that 0.1%, it's not small for you. There's the famous case of Brandon Mayfield.
What happened there?
He was an Oregon lawyer. Back in 2004, after the Madrid train bombings, his fingerprint was positively matched to one found on a bag of detonators near the scene.
Wow. So he was involved.
That's what the FBI thought. Even Mayfield's own experts agreed it looked like a match. He was arrested. But a month later, Spanish authorities found the actual bomber, an Algerian national. Mayfield's print wasn't a match after all.
Oh, my God. So a mistake was made.
A significant one.
Yeah.
The FBI later wrote a huge report detailing the analytical errors. It's a powerful reminder that context matters. And apart from DNA, no single piece of evidence should be seen as absolutely conclusive on its own. You need the whole picture.
It's sobering. It highlights the human element, doesn't it? Okay, let's shift focus. We've talked about traces left at the scene. What about the body itself? The ultimate silent witness. How does a forensic pathologist figure out its story?
All right, so this is forensic pathology. It's a medical specialty. A pathologist gets called in by the police or prosecutor for suspicious deaths, or when they don't know who the person is.
And their job is?
Three main things, basically. First, examine the body at the scene, trying to figure out the time of death. Second, oversee moving the body to the morgue for a full autopsy. And third, testify in court, providing a detailed report on the cause and manner of death.
They have to listen to the story the body tells, right?
Exactly, because the victim can't speak for themselves.
And determining time of death, that seems critical. How do they do that, especially right after death? What are the first clues?
There are three main biological signs they look for immediately. First is algor mortis.
The cold of death?
Precisely. Once the heart stops, the body stops regulating temperature. It starts cooling down, losing about 1 degree Celsius per hour until it reaches the temperature of its surroundings.
So they measure the body temperature.
Usually rectal temperature, yeah. Compare that to the room temperature, and you can estimate how long it's been. If the body is, say, 30 degrees C in a 24-degree room, that suggests maybe 6 or 7 hours since death, since normal body temp is around 37.
Clever. Like a biological thermometer.
Kind of. It has limits, though. If the body's already reached room temp, it's less helpful for timing.
Okay, what's next?
Rigor mortis. Muscle stiffening.
Right. I've heard of that. Why does it happen?
It's about energy. Muscles need energy, ATP, not just to contract, but also to relax. After death, there's no oxygen, so no more ATP is made. The muscles contract but can't release, so they get stiff.
Does it happen all at once?
It starts everywhere simultaneously, but you notice it first in smaller muscles, face, eyes, jaw, maybe 2 hours after death, then arms, hands, then the big leg muscles, maybe 6 to 8 hours.
And how long does it last?
The whole body is usually stiff by 24 hours. Then, as the muscle proteins start breaking down, the stiffness disappears. Interestingly, it goes away in the reverse order. It appeared face first, then arms, then legs, usually gone completely after about 36 hours.
So the pattern of stiffness gives you a time frame.
Exactly. It's another biological clock.
And the third indicator.
Livor mortis. That's the blood pooling. About 30 minutes after the heart stops beating, gravity pulls the blood down to the lowest parts of the body. It creates these bluish or dark purple marks on the skin.
Like bruising.
Sort of looks like it, but it's different. These marks become fixed, permanent, after about 6 to 8 hours.
How is that useful?
2 ways. First, timing how developed the marks are. Second, and maybe more importantly, it shows the body's position at the time of death. If the marks are on the back, they likely died lying on their back. If they're on the front, they were face down.
So if the marks don't match the position the body was found in?
Bingo, it means the body was moved after death. That's a huge piece of information.
Can it tell you anything else?
Sometimes, yeah. The color of the marks can hint at the cause of death. Bright cherry red might suggest carbon monoxide poisoning. Very dark purple can mean suffocation. The amount of pooling can also give clues, maybe pointing towards heart failure versus massive blood loss.
Fascinating. These methods seem great for a body found fairly quickly, but what if it's discovered days, weeks, even years later? Al Gore, rigor, livor mortis, they'd all be long gone, right?
Absolutely. Those signs are most useful in the first day or two. When a body has been decomposing for a while, investigators turn to a different kind of expert, forensic entomologists.
Ugh, experts.
Exactly, insect experts. And it might sound strange, insects are often the first witnesses to arrive at a death scene, especially blowflies.
No flies.
Yeah, they have an incredible sense of smell for decaying tissue. They can show up within 15 minutes of death. Remember that Chinese machete story?
Right, the flies were drawn to the blood.
That was basically early forensic entomology. A dead body is like a buffet for certain insects. Different species arrive at different stages of decomposition.
So the types of insects found and their stage of development can tell you how long the body's been there.
Precisely. It's another kind of biological clock. Take a common blowfly, Lucilia sericata. It lays eggs in wounds or body openings. The time it takes for those eggs to hatch into larvae and for the larvae to grow through different stages.
Depends on temperature.
Highly dependent on temperature, yes. For example, eggs might hatch in 21 hours at 21 Celsius, but only 18 hours at 27 Celsius. The larvae grow faster in warmer conditions too. Then they become pupa and eventually adult flies.
So the entomologist collects the insects?
Collects samples, identifies the species maybe using DNA, or sometimes they raise the larvae in the lab to see what they turn into. They measure the developmental stage, factor in the temperature at the crime scene using weather records if needed, and they can estimate the time since death, often very accurately.
Even after weeks or months?
Sometimes, yes. By looking at the generations of insects present, in cases of advanced decomposition, these insects, these larvae, they might be the only witness telling you when death occurred.
The only witness. That's quite a thought. And that time of death is crucial
For everything, establishing alibis, narrowing down suspect lists, even for civil things like insurance claims or inheritance.
Incredible. Okay, so we have the timing, but there's one more critical piece the pathologist determines, right?
Yep.
The difference between cause and manner of death.
Yes, a very important distinction. The cause of death is the specific medical reason the person died. Heart attack, gunshot wound, suffocation, drowning. That's the cause.
The direct biological event.
Exactly. Usually found during the autopsy. The manner of death is the circumstance surrounding that cause. How did it happen? Was it natural, an accident, suicide, or homicide, murder?
Can you give an example?
Sure. Let's take suffocation as the cause of death. There are typical signs, bulging eyes, bluish skin, maybe little blood spots on the face, congested organs found during autopsy. That confirms suffocation.
Okay.
But how did the suffocation happen? That determines the manner. It could be natural, maybe the part of the brain controlling breathing malfunction due to disease or a stroke.
Right.
It could be accidental. Inhaling toxic fumes, getting trapped in a place without oxygen, even a tragic accident like a mother rolling onto her baby while sleeping.
Okay.
Or it could be suicide, someone intentionally blocking their own airway. Or homicide, someone else strangling them with hands, or a rope, or holding a pillow over their face.
So how does the pathologist tell the difference?
They look for other signs. Are there marks on the neck consistent with a rope or hands? Are there signs of a struggle? Defensive wounds? They combine the autopsy findings with the crime scene evidence and circumstances to logically deduce the manner of death.
It really is like putting together a very complex, very high-stakes puzzle.
It absolutely is. And, our fascination with crime stories in books and movies often comes from that puzzle, that ambiguity, even if fiction sometimes makes it look simpler than it is.
Yeah, the lone genius solving it all in an hour.
The reality isn't usually one genius. It's a team. Ballistics experts, toxicologists, dentists, entomologists, pathologists, all these specialists working together. Their work starts when someone else's life ends.
A huge responsibility.
Immense. And while we know absolute 100% truth is maybe impossible to reach, the collaboration between all these scientific branches gets us closer. It's vital for justice, for giving answers to families.
And acknowledging mistakes, like the Mayfield case, is part of that process too.
It has to be. Science learns from errors. The goal is always to get better, to be more accurate, to strive for the truth, even when it's difficult.
So in the end, it's not just about intuition or being clever. It needs science, logic. You even said art earlier, the art of observation.
I think so, yes. The meticulous observation, the careful interpretation, it's a blend.
It really makes you think. When you face something unknown, just having a hunch isn't enough. You need evidence, careful analysis, whether it's solving a crime or just understanding the world around you. The pursuit of truth, supported by science, is just ongoing, a constant effort.